We are joined by Jake Crain. Jake, what's up, buddy?
What is up, fellas? We have finally made it. Call it week 0, call it week 1, call it a hippo with dyslexia. We've made it to college football. That's all I care about.
Yeah, that's what I care about. By the way, you can check out Jake's great work at Crain and Company on the really real Daily Wire. So we were going through some of your predictions, and let's start things off. Why so high on Oklahoma? Is it the Mateer effect?
Well, I think that's one piece of the puzzle. When you're looking at a recipe to try and project, to me, it needs the right ingredients. You look last year, the anomalous injuries, not only at wide receiver, but what happened to him on the offensive line. Like, the odds of that happening again are about the same as the odds of you staying perfectly healthy for 2 straight years. And if you know anything about Bill Bedenbaugh, and he's a guy that's so well respected in the coaching community for what he's done with his offensive lines, I don't expect the product to be that bad again as it was last year. And look, Jackson Arnold was a problem there as well, but bringing in Mateer and Arbuckle, like the Arbuckle piece of this is big for 2 reasons. One, obviously, Mateer doesn't have to learn a new language. That's typically the hardest part for quarterbacks, is learning a new language when you go to a new place. It's everybody else that's going to have to adjust, which is actually easier on an offense. And then it's truly going to be Arbuckle's system. So Brent can concentrate on the defense. But it's not just bringing in Arbuckle Arbuckle and Mateer through the transfer portal. I like what they brought in, a couple pieces on the defensive side to go with R. Mason Thomas and that front 7. I know they lost a couple guys at linebacker, but they got some young guys and some guys they brought in that I think are really talented. So I look at Oklahoma. I know it's a brutal schedule, but I think they have a legitimate shot to go 10-2. So I like all the pieces. And plus, and y'all know this, the embarrassment factor is the biggest fuel for 18 to 22-year-old men, and really men in general. And Oklahoma last year had to watch Texas come into the conference the same year they did, go all the way to the SEC championship game when they fell flat on their face. So I think there's some embarrassment fuel that's going on there as well. I think they're going to roll Michigan up and smoke them week 2. I like what Oklahoma has.
I want to get to A&M in a minute because I know you're high on them, but I think you talking just brought back a thought. Auburn, where are you on Auburn this year? And also, I think we see this the same way. I don't believe Hugh Freeze said he was going to use 3 quarterbacks in the way people are presenting it. I think he's saying that you could see 3 quarterbacks, and that can mean multiple things. It doesn't mean he's making packages for 3 quarterbacks. Am I hearing him correctly?
Yeah, and this is just, and on our show, not that we have all the answers, but since we've all been in it, playing and coaching, or playing or coaching, like, you've got to understand, like, most of the time coaches are not going to tell you exactly what they're going to do. It's like when you hear Trump talk about foreign policy and he's like, I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do. Like, why would I tell you? If I'm the coach, I would have told him 9 quarterbacks were going to play. We used to, when we'd send the depth chart over to teams we're playing, put a quarterback as the starter, as the personal protector on punt. We put the backup on there so they'd have to see it and then prepare for fakes all week, when in reality, he was never going to go in there and do it. So it's the art of war, man. It's Sun Tzu. They're not going to go in there and rotate 3 quarterbacks, but why would I go in there and say, hey, this is exactly who I'm going to play, so you know exactly who to prepare for, so you know exactly how to defend us? It's just stupid.
Talking to Jake Crain. So, Jake, where are you on Auburn this year?
Man, I think they're 8-4. I think they're 8-4. Look, it's the best roster they've had, in my opinion, since 2017. Jackson Arnold doesn't have to be Batman. He just got to be a really good Robin, and I think he can in this system. If he's able to read the RPO, they're going to be a problem on offense because the offensive line, not only the starting 5, but they have depth as well. Then on the defensive side, I think at all 3 levels, that they're talented enough. So, look, at that stretch at Oklahoma, I've got them losing. Then at A&M, I have them losing. But I think they beat Georgia. I really believe they beat Georgia coming off that bye week at home, and go 8-4, which Auburn fans would take right now.
Jake, A&M, you have them at 9-3, and
Yep.
I think Aggies would be very happy with 9-3. Where's their boom potential for 10-2, or what we've gotten used to, unfortunately, 8-4?
Well, I mean, look, to me, it's at Notre Dame. Like, if you win that one, and they can win it, like, A&M can go to Notre Dame and beat Notre Dame because I think they're physical enough up front. And If you look at Notre Dame, they've got a green kid at quarterback. And I'm not saying that because it's the color of a four-leaf clover. It's because he's never done this before. And some people, Nuno, I really think from a national perspective, I think they forget that last year was year one under Mike Elko. And he had to throw a guy that wasn't ready in there at quarterback who absolutely balled out. Marcel Reed balled out. He almost took him all the way back against Auburn when they started down 21-0. Now, everybody's talking about Arch Manning and DJ Lagway and Lenoris and all these guys, but two quarterbacks that are not getting talked about enough are Damon Williams Jr. from Washington and Marcel Reed from A&M. I think A&M could go 10-2, but I've got them 9-3. I've got them 6-2 in the SEC, which, look, I know A&M fans want to make the playoff, but at the end of the day, putting yourself in that position with this schedule, you may still be able to get in. But if you go to South Bend and beat Notre Dame and get to 10-2, I think A&M makes it in.
Talking to Jake Crain here on TexAgs Live. All right, Jake, everybody's got Texas as this juggernaut, this 10-2 team, 11-1 team. Why do you have them at 9-3?
Because at the end of the day, I don't think Arch is the next coming of Jesus himself. Like, I just don't believe that. Not that there's no way he could live up to the hype that they've put on him. I think they're going to lose at Ohio State week 1. And look, the roster around him is really good, but I can give you other rosters that I think that are as good or better around a new quarterback as well. And when I look at Texas and kind of the way this schedule works out, I'm just not I'm not as in love with them as everybody else is. I know the defense is going to be fine. I think they're going to lose at Ohio State, right? They're obviously going to win their next 3, but they're going to lose to Oklahoma in the Red River Shootout. I've got them losing to Oklahoma. I've got them losing at Georgia as well. And at 9-3, I don't know if that gets Texas in. Maybe the Arch factor does. Maybe if Ohio State ends up going undefeated and winning the Big Ten, and that's looked at like a quality loss. But, Blaine and Cone on our show, that they've got them, Texas, I think, both going 11-1. I don't see it. And I think they start off 0-1. And again, at the end of the day, with what they've had to replace, I don't think it's a crazy thing to say. You've had to replace most of your offensive linemen too. And as long as I've been in this, when you have a new quarterback and you had to replace most of your offensive line, it typically doesn't work out well. So I've got them 9-3. I'm not ready to anoint them as, the cream of the crop like most other people yet.
Jake, what about Alabama? I agree with you, by the way. I have them winning the SEC. There's a part of me that's like, yeah, but you can't lose the games that they lost last year and get the kind of bump up I'm giving them. But I'm giving them the bump up.
Well, I mean, every year is different, and I think you can make a legitimate argument that on both sides of the line of scrimmage, Alabama probably has the best 1-2 combo with offensive line and defensive line in the country. And with Ty Simpson, yeah, he's not as great of an improviser as Jalen Milroe, but I think the offense will be more balanced. I think they struggled to run the ball last year because teams dared them to throw. That teams were like, you can't throw to beat us. We're going to stop the run and make Jalen Milroe throw to beat us, which is exactly what I would do. And half of stopping the run was stopping Jalen Milroe on Q power read, things like that. I think getting Ryan Grubb back, too, was one of the biggest additions for any team in the offseason, not just because of the play calling, but his ability to develop a quarterback and understand the strengths and weaknesses of his quarterback. And plus, they're going to murder Florida State. I'm just telling you right now. Like, I don't know if the spread's still 12.5, but I may put the 401k on that one. They're going to win all their non-con. Got to go to Auburn, and I've got them beating Auburn, but I've got them losing at Georgia. I think they go 11-1. I think they play Georgia in the SEC championship and then lose to Georgia in the SEC championship after that.
Jake, who's an SEC team that will potentially fall flat this year? Somebody that's really going to fall deep or way worse than expectations?
Well, I mean, look, you look at like Kentucky and Mississippi State, but that's no fun to talk about. I'm worried about Tennessee, man. Like, I'm just, again, and it's not just because you lost Nico, and Nico wasn't great last year. Like, I don't think the difference between Nico and Joey Aguilar is some huge gap, but you lost your top 3 pass catchers. You lost your stud running back. You lost a couple pieces on defense. Now, we had the head of the Senior Bowl on. He had Jermon McCoy as the #1 graded player in college football. So you've got some guys running around on that defense that are going to be talented, but I think they're going to be a weaker version of what they were last year. I don't think the defense is going to be as good. I think the offense is going to take a step back. I've still got Tennessee at 8-4, but I would not be shocked if we looked up and they were 6-6.
Jake, I appreciate your time, man. Thanks so much. Appreciate you.
Hey, anytime, guys. I'm just so glad that football's here, and y'all are the best, man. Tell Billy I said what's up.